Thank you for checking out this complete broadcast from the Wrestling Epicenter archives. If you like what you hear, please hit the like button and the notifications bell. Also, consider subscribing. It really helps. And now, without any further ado, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Interactive Interview on the interactiveinterview.com, as always, courtesy of ProWrestling.com. And we're here with Terri Runnels. Terri, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. And this is James I'm speaking with, correct?
This is James. I'm the American.
The American.
Yeah, that's how he knows.
We can't put down our friend from across the pond.
No.
Daniel.
I'm here.
Oh, he's crying.
I'm sorry.
Speak up, my friend.
I will. I'll try.
But he's crying now.
I love the UK, Daniel. I miss the UK.
Is it true that American women really like English accents?
Oh my heavens! I can only speak for myself, but I think they're wonderful. I love accents in general, but I think an English accent and a French accent are just to die for.
I was going to try and do a French impersonation, but I won't because that would.
You're doing well with the English. I'll
stick with the English impression. Yeah.
Just be yourself.
If I don't keep it up, people might think I'm not actually English. So I'll try.
All right, but don't say, James, that doesn't mean that I don't love you too.
Oh, well, we love you too.
All right.
It's such a family feel.
Now hit me with the hard stuff, would you?
All right, the first question we have is not that hard, but it's the one that we've gotten submitted the most, believe it or not, and that is, first, how are you doing since your WWE release, and what are you up to?
Well, if this answers your question, I spent the entire afternoon by my pool just chilling with my daughter. So it's been a wonderful. I'm doing well, and it's a much-needed break before starting a new part of my life.
Just going through our regular chronological order, can you tell us if you have any college experience or any education in your past?
I'm ignorant. Daniel, does that tell you anything? No, I do not. I have gotten through life on my grace and my wit and any little quips that I might have in my back pocket, so I am not a college-educated broad. How's that?
Question from Asylum.
Much to my dismay.
Question from Asylum. He'd like to know how a career as a hairdresser for Larry King Live translates into a WCW career.
I wouldn't know. I was not a hairdresser for Larry King Live. I was a makeup artist for Larry King Live.
Remind me to slap Asylum once we're done with this interview. Okay, well, how does it... Let me just reword the question then, and how does a makeup artist for Larry King Live end up in WCW?
Well, you work for CNN, and of course, we all know that Larry King is on CNN.
Right.
And I worked basically with Larry King and also in CNN in Atlanta, which is where Jim Crockett, would come every weekend to tape his shows at Techwood Studios.
Right.
And this is before Turner bought it. And it was part of my job to do the makeup for the wrestling on the weekend. And Ole Anderson is the one who asked me if I would become an on-air character. And he kind of gave me the concept of the character, and I came up with the name Alexandra Yorke, and I guess the rest is history.
How did you end up meeting your ex-husband, Dustin?
I was working with WCW. I was Alexandra Yorke, and he and his dad, his dad had been one of the producers for a while, but Dustin was never, at TVs, and then all of a sudden Dustin, started showing up at TVs. I guess he got old enough to come to work with Daddy.
Right.
And it was honestly one of those things where he just charmed the socks off of me, and we were in Phoenix for a pay-per-view, and I just remember, he got out of the cab. We were at the Hilton hotel in Phoenix. He got out of the cab, and I could have sworn that fireworks went off, and I heard music playing, and we just, he asked me out the next day for lunch. He asked me out for dinner that night. The next day for lunch, the next day for dinner, and I think we pretty much just went from there.
Oh.
So.
And how did Dusty treat you?
Dusty treated me great until he found out I was dating his son. That was an interesting thing. I had a great relationship with him, and I think there's an interesting dynamic between father and son that I could probably speak to very honestly, but out of respect for Dustin mainly, I won't go into it. I think that's his place to talk about. But I think Dustin deserves a lot of credit from his father, and hopefully one day he'll get that. That's all I'll say.
The first time any of us got a chance to see you was as Alexandra Yorke, as you talked about. How did you enjoy being in front of the camera as opposed to being behind the camera?
Well, I always have been in entertainment. From the time I was 3 years old, I was in dance and theater, and so kind of being makeup artist was not, I was good at what I did because I was an artist, but I didn't enjoy it as much as entertaining and being in front of the camera. So it was awesome. I loved it.
Now, if you created the Alexandra Yorke character, or the name...
No, I only named her. I created Marlena, but I did not create Alexandra Yorke.
Ah, I see. So which one out of, Marlena and Alexandra Yorke did you prefer playing? And playing yourself? Those three.
Oh, Marlena, definitely. I had a blast with Marlena. My whole thing was, I came up with Marlena. I was laying in our tanning bed one day when Dustin was on the road. Dakota was like a year and a half old, and I'd been out of it for a while because of, being pregnant and then giving birth, and then Dakota was a year and a half old, so that's quite a while of being out of entertainment. And, I just missed it so much. And I started thinking about, okay, what does the show not have? And at the time, there was only, actually at the time I thought of it, there was only Sunny. And she was more of like the cheerleading, persona. And before her had been Sherry Martel, which is a very, kind of a in-your-face and crass kind of female.
Right.
But they really need some femininity, some glamour. And since Dustin was playing this Hollywood director, or this Hollywood actor, I thought, well, how cool would it be to have, like, old Hollywood glamour come into play? So I called Dustin one night and said, and I had even seen this Barbie doll that Bob Mackie had designed the costume for, and it was all gold. And I thought, God, how incredible would it be to just have that kind of costuming and bring glamour back? And so I called Dustin and gave him my idea, and I said, will you call Vince and tell him? And he said, I'm not calling him, you call him. So I called him and got a return phone call from Pat Patterson, who said, graciously, but at the same time, thanks, but we're not really interested at this time, and we'll get back with you. So I just kind of put it, I just buried it and thought, okay, well, I'm just meant to be mommy, and that's it, which I love being. That's the greatest job I'll ever have in my life. And then like a month or two later, Dustin called me, and he said, pack your bags. I said, what? He said, they want to do your idea. So they flew me in, and literally the rest is history. I came up with the name, the concept, the cigar smoking, all of it. And they supported it and liked it, so I'm appreciative to them, and I loved when we were pissing people off like crazy. I was in heaven. I thought I really loved doing that with Dustin.
What inspired the name Marlena?
Do you remember the old actress Marlena Dietrich?
Actually, yes.
Well, you remember how she was kind of an androgynous female?
Mm-hmm.
She was female, but she was probably the most androgynous of her time.
Right.
And I thought, since Dustin was doing this whole androgynous character,
right,
well, why not, I just kind of played off of her androgyny and took that name. Spelled it a little differently, but that was the concept.
Speaking of Dakota, would you ever kind of advise any children of yours, or friends, or people that want to get into the wrestling business? Would you advise them to do it?
I just answered this question, and I will tell you, my gut instinct screams no, because of while I love this business, I will always love this business, and I'm so blessed to have been a part for so long. At the same time, if you have any weakness, it brings it out and it preys upon it, and it's hard. I mean, it's a tough business. And if she came to me and said, Mom, this is my passion, this is what I want to do, and she put her heart and soul into it, excuse me, I would have nothing, loving my daughter, I could do nothing but support her.
Right.
If you ask me selfishly what I want her to do, I want her to, marry Prince Charming and just bake cookies, have babies, and be happy.
Quickly running back to what we were talking a second ago about Goldust character. What was your impressions? Poncho Jones wants to know. What was your impressions of Goldust, actual, the character itself?
Not the person, but just the character?
Yeah, just the character, yeah.
At first I thought, okay, this is weird. Why in the heck does Vince want Dustin to play such a wackadoo character? But then, Dustin is not, even though there's part of Dustin that is the Texas, tobacco-chewing, boot-wearing guy, there's another part of him that's very artistic, and that's kind of avant-garde in some ways. So, in essence, Vince kind of peered into Dustin's soul where I wasn't even aware that he was seeing what he was seeing, and was able to create something that Dustin could really sink his teeth into.
The gay kisses and things didn't bother you at all?
No, because here's what I really believe. If I kiss Val Venus,
right.
that was my job. If I play a murderer on TV, it doesn't mean I'm a murderer. If I play, some cheap, sleazy hoe,
right.
which God knows they've wanted me to play at times in my career, that doesn't mean that's who I am. Far from it. I'm a very passionate and sexual being, but with the person I'm with. So I understand you put yourself into that role, you play it with all your heart and soul, and that's that. And when they say cut, that's it.
They eventually got away from the Goldust being gay character and allowed you to be more of a sex symbol, for lack of a better term. On Shotgun Saturday Night, you did a thing where you flashed his opponent. The question that's...
Which opponent that was?
I want to say Flash Funk, but I'm not sure.
No.
Who was it?
Do you remember the character Rikishi used to be?
Fatu? Samu? Fatu?
Sultan.
Sultan, oh yes. Oh, okay.
Good question.
The question was, the internet went absolutely bonkers over that. I remember because I was on it. I can't figure out how to word this without blushing, so I'm just going to say it.
Well,
were you
blushing? So go ahead.
Were you literally exposed, or was there some sort of a safety net?
I have never been exposed like that, nor will I ever be. So if you ever see a picture of me naked on the internet, trust me, it's not me. And that has bothered me too. No, I was covered. You could not see that from the back, which is, of course, what we wanted you to think was that, I was naked. And, it was not something that I was really excited to do. It was something that Vince wanted me to do. And, again, I'm not necessarily there, especially at that point in time. I wasn't there for any sort of intellectual quality. I was there for a TNA factor, and I understood that. I understood what my place was and my purpose was. So for me to say, no, that's not my character. So many people will say, oh, my character wouldn't be that. Well, bottom line is, if the boss says to you, you're doing this, if you're a smart cookie, you do that. That doesn't mean you always like it. If you work for IBM and the boss says, I want you to do this, you might not like it, but you kind of, if you like what you do and you want to keep your job, you do it. And so, I loved what I did. Vince was so gracious afterward. He came up and hugged my neck and said, "Thank you so much," which meant a lot to me because it meant that he realized I wasn't super keen on doing it. And he appreciated me kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone to do something for the sake of the show and for the business.
I'm not sure if there's going to be anything in here, but you just mentioned something about doing what the boss says. Do you have any opinion at all on the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels thing from the Survivor Series?
I guess you get to a certain point where you have to pick and choose your battles, you know?
Right.
If I were to speak out every time I disagreed with Vince,
Right.
I think I'd be really foolish. Vince is such a genius and I cannot tell you the respect I have for Vince. That doesn't mean I've agreed with everything he's done, but I still have so much respect for him and love him to pieces. And so you just kind of, you pick and choose when you fight and when you don't fight. And, you know, to each his own. I can't say what either of them should have done because I wasn't in their shoes. But, you know, if that was a battle they felt, you know, they had to fight or not fight, then, you know, that's where they were at that point in time. And again, I can't fault Vince either because ultimately he has, if Vince were to put everyone's personal issues at the forefront, there would be no WWE.
Absolutely.
There just wouldn't be. I think Vince is as fair as he possibly can be while making this incredible machine called WWE run so smoothly and beautifully.
Just to put you on the spot really quickly, what do you think has been Vince's best decision in the entire time he's been running the WWF?
Oh, hell, Daniel, hiring me. For heaven's sake.
Oh, of course, sorry.
You know what I think has been a really smart move, and I will not tell you the person who said this to me, but a long time ago I thought that women should have a much larger role, and I was told by this person who was close to Vince, you're not there to be a star. You're there to just accent this person. And I remember thinking to myself, boy, you got it wrong, because we are like an icing on the cake. If you have a cake and no icing, that's a really, you know, okay.
Right.
And if you have too much icing, if you have too many women, you kind of go, you want to spit some of it out.
Right.
But if you have a cake with the perfect amount of icing, it's like, melt in your mouth. It's wonderful. And that's what you know, Vince finally went, okay, women don't have to beat the hell out of each other, but they can play such an integral part of ratings and show spirit and everything to promote this vehicle and what we do. I mean, you really, when you think about it in real life, if men were on the face of the earth all by themselves and they had no women, it wouldn't really be an exciting place. I mean, a lot of what men do is to impress women, and a lot of what women do is to impress men. And so I think he finally got it and went, holy Catmandoos, I need to, you know, sprinkle some icing on this cake. And I think that's one of the coolest things and smartest things he ever did.
And all the analogies that we've heard from guests on the show in like the 100 whatever interviews we've done, that has to be probably my favourite analogy that's come up.
What, Catmandu?
No.
What, holy Catmandu?
No, the icing on the cake, the too much icing.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it truly is. If you think about it, I like, even as a female, I don't want to see too many women.
Right.
And I don't want to see a guy look like a total wuss with a woman.
Right.
But I do want to see a story played out with a man and woman occasionally on our show. And because we can all relate to it. How many of us, pretty much all of us that watch the show, have either been dissed by a guy or girl, or we have dissed a guy or a girl, or we've tried to impress a guy or a girl, or some guy has beat up another guy to, you know, say, okay, you know, smack his chest like a silverback gorilla and say, okay, I am, you know, the alpha male here. So, I mean, that's pretty much kind of what the dynamics come down to, and it's great that it's great when we can play that out, but not so much that I don't ever want to see women become the super focus of the show. Even as a woman, I don't. I think that takes away from, from the show. But I think put in the proper perspective and the proper proportion, it's just, you go, yeah, this is good.
Right. Another quick impromptu question, though. What do you think of the kind of the love triangle thing they've got with Chris Jericho, Christian, and Trish?
Well, that just goes to what I was just talking about. I'm happy to see some interaction there between men and women. I think that's something that for a while, we have people that, and I say we because I still feel a part of WWE family, I always will, and a part of the business. We have some people who might not have experience with women like they really should at the age that they are, and they don't understand the concept of, that's when you combine to something emotionally, that's when you can really go, I got to see this because I understand this. I've been there, done that. If you hear someone talk about nuclear science and you have no clue what the hell they're talking about, you kind of go, yeah, okay, whatever. But if you have personal knowledge and you are intelligent in those ways, then you can sink your teeth into that. Well, it just so happens that most of us as human beings can sink our teeth into relationships between men and women. Those are the most powerful relationships we'll ever have in our lives. And, it's great when we can use those properly on air to entertain and tell the story.
Going back, of course, another woman that you mentioned a few minutes ago. You arm wrestled Sunny on the WWE television before, but what did you feel about Sunny and Tammy Sitch as a person? I always got along with Tammy, even at times when she was having a hard time with a lot of other people. I always got along with her, and I feel like Tammy was misunderstood in a lot of ways. I mean, Tammy was almost like a little girl in some ways. She had so much sexuality and so much, she was so appealing in so many ways. But I think what she did a lot of times was, once she was off camera, she didn't make the most wise choice, and that might have been a downfall.
You had a major feud with Brian Pillman. I know you knew Brian Pillman from back in the WCW days as well. First of all, your memories of the feud with Brian Pillman, and does that go hand in hand with what you were saying about male and female relationships?
Yeah, and I think of Brian quite often. The night that he died, the night he died, I was we were in the middle of that whole angle,
right?
With Dustin and Brian and myself, and I remember going backstage and saying, Dustin, gosh, I remember he cut me that night with his fingernail because he handled me so roughly, and he was just not himself that night. And I remember saying to Dustin, I'm worried about him. And I walked up to Brian and said, Brian, are you okay? And he said, yeah, nobody will let me ride with him. And I came so close to going to Dustin and saying, can we give him a ride to the hotel? But because I had dated Brian in the past, and because I was married to Dustin, I didn't want to, I had no feelings for Brian in that sense anymore, and I didn't want, even though we all understood our parts and our roles, I didn't want to cloud that. Right. By having Dustin mistake what was now a friendship for something that, was more than a friendship. So I just decided not to say anything, and then, of course, the next day, it was my birthday, as a matter of fact, he didn't show up for the pay-per-view, and I remember saying to Dustin, you've got to call the hotel. And they finally called the hotel, and, of course, got the horrible news, and Brian was one of those people, he was one of the most passionate people I've ever known. I will always love him in a certain way. I think he fought a lot of demons And for that, it just breaks my heart, because I would have loved to have reached out and just said, it's okay and you're loved. And even though he had lots of people around him saying that, it's like he just didn't get it. It never got through that he was as good as he was. He just never got that. And I think I might have veered off from your question. Did I?
No, actually, this was wonderful stuff, and I'm glad that you're comfortable sharing it all with us. We thank you very much.
After that angle happened and carried on, they did a backstage interview where Goldust walked out on you, and you left television for quite some time. So where were you during that period?
I was doing stuff that I had put off for ages. I was. This sounds so like domestic and hokey, but I was like planting flower gardens and cooking amazing meals and doing lunch with girlfriends and shopping and just being a rested mommy. I mean, I was just having a blast. When you travel so much, you find yourself, and I make a list for myself every night before I go to bed. There is, like tonight, there will be a Monday list. In fact, it's already made out. And so you find yourself when you're on the road so much, and you have a small child, you just, what you don't get done on Monday carries over to Tuesday. What doesn't get done on Tuesday carries over to Wednesday. And at a certain point, you go, holy Kathmandu. I'll use that instead of the other word. This has been on my list for 6 months, and I haven't done it. And so it was nice to kind of just recoup and do some stuff that Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I lost you again. To do some stuff that I wanted to do so badly and just didn't get a chance to do. So that's where I was.
Wow.
I'm trying shoes.
When you returned, you were doing something with Val Venus where you were playing on his porn character. And you had just mentioned a little previously about the wanting to do things that would make you seem, I guess the way I'll put it is below yourself. How did you enjoy that whole vignettes, all those vignettes and such?
First,
hello?
It's hard for me because, like, the public me and the real me is a very classy lady. Mm-hmm. I just believe in having class and values and being above the fray. That being said, the private me with the person that I'm in love with is a very sexual person, and whatever we choose to do is awesome. The sky's the limit. But those are very, there's a line between the two. And so in doing those things, first of all, Val was such a great guy and a great friend. It was easy to do that stuff with him. If you would have said, okay, Terry, what would you like to do? No, I would not have said, okay, I'd like to be this, this hoe bag that resurfaces under the sheets with, a porn star. No. But, when they say, okay, this is kind of what we have in mind, and, I would put a little spin on it here and there, but, to be able to work with someone so professional and so savvy and so smart as Val, it makes stuff that you're not really necessarily keen on doing, it makes it so much more palatable and easy and fun. So I don't remember at the end of the day coming home and going, damn it, this is just horrible. No, I didn't. I remember having great laughs, and it was tons of fun doing those vignettes. But it was because of the person I was working with, and I'm sure had I been working with someone not as professional, I would have begrudged every vignette. But Val was awesome and respectful, so I was cool with all that.
Listener Jamie James wants to know your memories of part of being in the Pretty Mean Sisters.
What was the question again?
Jamie wants to know your memories of being part of the Pretty Mean Sisters.
Well, I just hated the name PMS, because I am a witch when I'm PMSing. And so the thought of that whole female happening that goes on once a month, I just thought was horrible. I came up with what was the acronym I came up with? I think it was POW, P-O-W, and it was, I don't even remember what it stood for, but that was my acronym, was POW, and instead of PMS, but Vince liked PMS, so PMS it was. At some point, I felt like we should walk out swinging tampons around our hands. I mean, it's like, I felt like it was the tackiest thing ever. But, again, and I love Jackie to pieces. Jackie Moore is one of my favorites in the business, always will be. The young girl, and oh my gosh, I just drew a blank. What's her name?
Well, Brian Shamrock, Alicia Webb.
What was her name?
Alicia Webb?
Ryan Shamrock, right?
Ryan Shamrock, yes.
Yeah.
She was like lost in the sauce. I mean, like, she was coming out to the ring like okay, looking at me going, well, okay, what do I do now? What do I do? Okay, throw your arms up. Okay, do this. Okay, do that. So it was kind of like, I felt like in a way I was leading a crew that was kind of funky. Jackie was awesome, but Jackie's such a strong female. I don't necessarily know that she needed to be put in that place. So that was not my favorite time, Jamie. But nonetheless, it was a time, so we'll just call it that.
Talking of suggestive acronyms, you were obviously the main character in the Terri Invitational Tournament, the TIT. What was your impression of that whole storyline?
Well, again, I think that I understood why we did what we did. The whole acronym was, as long as it's a double entendre that will go over young kids' heads,
Right.
I'm cool with. I think I loved working with the Hardys. I absolutely loved that time in my career, so I was fine with that. I think that when you like, for instance, I remember Dustin doing some vignettes where he would say things like, and I'll come in the back door, and that a young kid won't get, but that every adult knows exactly what you're referring to. So, as long as it's done that way, like, I love sexual double entendres and being able to use them where the adults get them and the kids don't,
I really loved the cigar ones, too.
I used to love smoking cigars. This is the honest truth. I loved smoking cigars. Years before I was ever Marlena, I would be in a bathtub, bubble bath, glass of wine, and a cigar. And, this was long before they were shishi to, for women to smoke cigars.
Right.
And I would never admit that I smoked cigars and loved them. And then when I came up with the idea that Marlena should smoke cigars and had to do it all the time, well, all of a sudden I started going, ugh. It's like when someone makes you do something.
Right.
You just go, I don't want to do that anymore. So it's funny, my love of cigars kind of waned. And I have a great friend who owns a cigar company, and in fact, I'll give him a plug, Indian Tobacco Cigar Company, Rakesh Patel, and he, I love going to the big smokes with him now, and I love smoking his cigars, and I still do occasionally in a bubble bath, but thank goodness it's not like where I have to do it all the time. And Monica Lewinsky and I have nothing in common. How's that?
Okay, good. All right, you took some pretty wicked bumps with the Dudley Boys. What kind of wrestling training did you receive to take such brutal bumps?
Well, first of all, I never wanted to be a wrestler, and I have to give credit to all the women and men who their dream was to go out and be wrestlers. I respect them so much because of the brutal lives that they led before they ever got to our business. My thing was entertaining and being a manager, and that's what I love to do. When it comes down to it and Vince says, I want you to take this bump or this bump, I started loving to take bumps from the guys. I really loved the big bumps. I hated and still hate to this day an organized wrestling match between me and another woman. And my stomach turns into knots. I hate it. I don't like it. And number one, it's because it's not my passion. And number two, because I'm not trained properly.
Right.
But you know, whatever I was asked to do, I tried to do it to the best of my ability. And it's so funny the night that I was doing that with Bubba Ray, you know, that was the first time he'd ever put a woman through a table. And he was a very confident wrestler. However, when Vince came to him and said, you know, are you sure about this? And came to me and said, are you sure you want to do this? And, you know, and he said to Bubba Ray, don't you let anything happen to her. Well, I think he put the fear of God in Bubba Ray. So, therefore, I literally, you know, he absorbed everything. I felt nothing. And, I mean, I'll lie. I hurt the next day, but not like I should have. And to this day, I tell him, you know, you owe me one. I have to go through the table again and feel it because you took too much of that from me. But I think he did it just, you know, it was the first time, and he was scared to death of something happening to me. So, in retrospect, I didn't really take that table like I wanted to. RSBH123,
a listener from our forums, in case you're wondering what the hell I'm going on about.
Yes.
He questions, for a while it seemed like the WWF didn't really know what to do with you, and pretty much stuck you with whatever wrestler you could. They could, but not for very long. With examples like Val Venus and Meat and the Hardy Boys and Terry, etc. He says, what was the reason for the supposed lack of stability with your character?
I think it was just a situation where, you know, I can talk and I can. I'm never you never stick a microphone in my face and I go you know, I'm able to speak. And if you'll think about the people that I was with the exception of Raven, who, you know, he could speak, but it, you know, sometimes it wasn't understandable.
I always said I would hate to play a game of.
Yeah, it was.
I hate to play a game of Scrabble with Raven.
Yeah, it was very from a very interesting perspective. But anyway, if you'll think about the people I was with, they were not big talkers, and they weren't really super confident. And so when you need someone to have a voice for them, or to have a little bit of confidence to get them over a hump, no pun intended, and you put someone like me with them, and that, you know, kind of gives them a voice, and they don't have to speak all the time. So I think that's probably what happened in a lot of the cases.
Another question.
And I have to say that I loved so much working with Perry Saturn. He was, you know, to this day, I have such love and respect for him and miss him so much.
He spoke very highly of you in our interview with him as well.
Aww, I miss him. And Ray Traylor, Big Boss Man, I miss him just like crazy. He was my big brother, still is. I mean, we talk often, but, you know, we don't travel down the road. I mean, Ray and I were traveling partners for years and years and years, and it's sad when that, you know, when Ray left and I didn't have him to travel with and laugh with. That was sad.
When did he actually leave the WWE? Because it wasn't really cottoned on by people that he'd actually left until he turned up in Japan. People still thought he was like backstage. Yeah, right.
You know what? I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I know Ray told me, but I don't remember exactly when he officially left them. And I would hate to say the wrong time. So I know he was out for a while with injuries, and then, you know, it was just kind of like, okay, one thing led to another, and then he was gone. So I'm not really for sure the exact date. So you'll have to ask him.
Reader AJ D'Amico, I hope I've pronounced that correctly. He said that a lot of WWE divas have been offered spots in Playboy. Were you ever asked?
Yes, and I said no, and will always say no because of my child. And, you know, here again, you know, I was saying earlier how if you ever see me naked on the internet, it's not me. You know, if I'm going to pose naked, I'm damn well going to be paid for it. So the fact that I've said no to Playboy, you will never see me on some cheap, free, you know, internet site. And I just really feel like if I'm trying to impart values, and, you know, if I'm saying to my child, sit like a lady and, you know, behave as a lady, then if I'm, you know, showing the world what only my husband and my doctor should see, then that's probably not the greatest example for her. So
right.
I don't really, I have to say this, like, the things that I've done in the business, I can explain to her.
Right.
I don't know that there's any way that I could explain that to her other than, honey, Mommy did this for the money.
Aww.
The other stuff I did, and it was entertainment value, and I enjoyed what I was doing. And even though I didn't agree with everything, and even though I wasn't super keen on everything I did, I still was enjoying what I did and entertaining. I don't know that I could, and I couldn't say, oh, Mommy loved doing this, where I put my right foot over here and my left foot 3 feet apart. And there was some photographer named Bob, and he said, give it to me, baby. I mean, there's no way to describe that. So I just will not do that.
WrestleMania 2000. I think you already know where I'm going with this. So I'll just ask it the way it was meant to be asked. How was that done? And since you said that there was never anything nude, what was that then? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, tell me what you're talking about.
In the scene, it looked like your pants had been ripped off, and
With the cat?
Yeah. Maybe I'm not.
I had on an incredible pair of Victoria's Secret flesh-colored undies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the truth comes out.
Well, actually, that was one of the questions I had asked me via email. So, one of the ones I was blushing to ask too.
Oh yeah, sure, James. Yeah. Really believable, James. Well, one question I want to quickly throw in. While we're on the subject of nudity and everything like that, one thing I want to throw in about Stacey Carter. Did she have any objections, to going topless at Armageddon? Because obviously she really did go topless.
You know what? I mean, I never really asked her, but I would say probably not. Just knowing her, I would just, And again, I mean, I cannot give you a definitive answer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to put a gun to my head and tell me to answer, that would be the most honest answer I could give you. Probably not.
Mm. Another tough question to ask you is, there was an internet rumor in 2002 that you were married for a couple of weeks. Did you care to answer this rumor and dispute it or confirm it or whatever?
Yeah, this is probably one of the most foolish things that I've ever done, but one of the most, I learned so much from it. I met a guy who, basically what I tried to do was learn from my past failures.
Uh-huh.
So I met this guy who is 10 years older than me, as opposed to younger than me. He's driving a Mercedes. He's a life coach. He has had a nationally syndicated radio talk show. My mom has heard him. She thinks, he's just awesome. And basically I went to see him as a life coach because just, when you have the life we have, it's just like, sometimes things just literally swirl out of control as far as schedules and time and, trying to be super mom and super this and super everything. And so my mom said, why don't you go see this guy? I've listened to him, he's awesome, and he now lives where you live. And so it was almost kind of a funny thing to appease my mom. I went to see him.
Uh-huh.
And, his whole deal is he asks you to write down everything that your most intimate fears, desires, everything. Well, he asked you to answer 3 questions at the end of each session with him.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what started happening was the questions would end up focusing around what kind of man I wanted. So little did I know, I mean, I was kind of caught up in the moment. This guy was basically kind of figuring out a blueprint as to what would kind of snag me. And I don't think it was very, ethical nor professional for him to do so, but within 2 weeks, the guy asked me to marry him. Within 6 months, I was married to him, and without saying too many negative things, because, I would like to consider this part of my past and that I've moved on.
Right.
To hear him speak, to hear what his message is, had I not seen what I'd seen behind closed doors, I would just swear that you were lying to say that the man was a wackadoo and violent. But it was one of those things where I knew just before my wedding. My mother asked me, "Are you sure you want to go through with it?" all I could think of was, oh my gosh, all these people have flown in for my wedding. I have to go through with it. And, I did. A month later, I went, this is not healthy, and I'm going to end up being hurt. And I told him to get out of my house. He had moved into my home, and I said, get out of my house. And that was, I think that was Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, I said that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
Anyway.
Yeah. What is your impression of the internet reporting such intimate details of these people's lives?
Let me go back and say something really quickly.
Okay, sure.
I have to say, in that respect, that I think the thing that bothered me the most was, number one, I am a good judge of character. I'm a strong person. It bothered me that I had allowed myself to make such a poor choice in such a short amount of time, and it bothered me that my choice had affected my child. The good thing I can say is that, when I told Dakota about it, Dustin was with me, and he was very supportive, and I thank him for that. And we sat and we told her, I said, Mom made a mistake, and I hope that if you take anything from this, you take that, you never have to be mistreated, and you can always, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks or says, you can choose to keep yourself safe and healthy. And bottom line, the greatest lesson I hope she got was make a wise choice and give yourself time enough to make a wise choice. So, that being said, ask your question.
What is your opinion of the internet and how in-depth they're getting into the backstage things of people's lives? Example, you being married.
I don't mind at all the internet, like finding out about Susie Smith and her private life, and Johnny Jones and his private life, and finding out about who we are. Because if you think about it, basically that's what Entertainment Tonight does, or that's what a lot of the entertainment shows do. Is we all want to know what the people that we put on pedestals, what they like, what they do, where do they eat when they're off the road? Do they watch television? Do they sit on a couch? Do they sit on the floor? I mean, do they use toilet paper? Oh my gosh, what do they do?
Well, I hope the last one will be yes.
Well, and so I understand that part of it, and don't begrudge the internet that part at all. What I do begrudge is that when they number one, when they lie.
Right.
I hate that. So many lies have been said about me and other people, I'm sure. And number two, when they try to give stuff away. I mean, that would be like Siskel and Ebert, before they give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down, saying, oh, and by the way, here's the ending of the movie. Who wants to hear that?
Absolutely.
I want to buy my popcorn, go in there in the dark theater, and totally be surprised. And I would hope that any smart fan,
right,
and use smart the way, take it however you want to take it, any smart fan would want to do the same. Shut up and just sit back and enjoy what you see.
Right.
Yes, we all know it's a show, even though I hate, because I'm from the old school, I hate it, admitting that. I hated it when that first happened, when we had to kind of change with the times and say, okay, this is a show. I hated that. But, we did have to change with the times. That did happen. And so, with that being said, okay, if we're going to say that it's a show, then sit back and watch it and enjoy it, and don't try to figure it all out. You ruin the joy and the excitement and the entertainment value by trying to predict everything that's going to happen. Now, if you want to talk about, people in the business and exactly what we're doing tonight, I think that's fine as long as people agree to talk about it.
Right.
But don't tell lies about other people, and don't ruin stuff.
Can you think of any particular internet rumor or made up story about yourself that's gone out there that you particularly wanted?
Oh, I mean,
just in case someone heard it and actually believed it or something.
Well, I mean, I've had situations where, the whole I was going to be in Penthouse. Terri Runnels confirmed for Penthouse. No.
So that's the first
no,
you
she's
heard
not.
of it.
And to the point where, I even had my mom call me and say, honey, is there something you want to tell me? What are you talking about, Mom? And, she finally told me, and I said, no. And first of all, yes, I'm an adult, and if I chose to do that, that's my own choosing. And she said, I agree with you. I said, but second of all, I love and respect you enough, and she's in education, so she deals with kids, teenagers,
Right.
and I said, I respect you enough that I would have certainly given you forewarning had I chosen to do something like that. So I just got phone calls beeping out of the wazoo here, I'm sorry. So anyway, I mean, stuff like that bothers me. It bothers me when, a friend of mine, his mother,
Right.
saw, she had someone tell her, that I was naked on, that I'd done some spread online naked, and there's no way that I can tell people, oh, that's not me. There will always be, people out there that I can never get to. Like, the people that this interview reached, okay, they might know, but past that, if somebody just hits upon it, they'll go, oh my God, I don't want the kids in my child's school to assume that that's what I've done when I haven't.
Right.
So that kind of stuff really bothers me.
So therefore, the message
And
is
if and on the other hand, if I had, I would be the kind of person to say, yeah, that's me, and damn, don't I look good? But if I haven't, don't tell lies and say that I have.
Right.
So then the message is that anybody who's listening to this, the next time one of your friends mentions Terri Runnels and doing any sort of internet Playboy shoot or anything like that, it did not happen. It is not her.
Okay.
No, my doctor and the one guy I'm seeing right now. That's it. They're the only privileged two people.
Glad we cleared it up.
Well, we have a question here now, and I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about, but I'll ask it anyway. The question is, what really happened in the plane ride from hell between you and Dustin?
Well, thank God I was sitting in the front of the plane and Dustin was in the back of the plane for the most part, so that I don't have to attest for a lot of what he did. But the only thing that bothered me and embarrassed me was that he was singing, David Allan Coe love songs to me over the loudspeaker about 6 hours into a flight. Short of the embarrassment, that's all that I can attest to. I can't say anything else to, anything else, and that's not illegal to sing, to sing in a drunken fashion, to sing a song and throw your ex-wife's name into the verse every 5 seconds. I don't think that's against the law. It's just terribly embarrassing to your ex-wife.
Right. You became the backstage interviewer for Raw. How did you enjoy doing that?
I liked it. The only thing I didn't like about it was that it was just very, after a while, how many times can you say, so how do you feel about this match? So, how do you feel going into this match? So,
Hello?
I'm a much more spontaneous person and a much more, there's too much, there's too much that I have to say, that I want to say, that I really have curiosity about, to be held to those things, and it just became very stagnant to me.
Did anybody give you advice, like Gene Okerlund or anybody?
No.
No?
Well, although I love Gene, but no.
Okay.
You have to understand that this is a different time.
Right.
We have writers now. So it's not a matter of me taking and coming from like a gut and visceral place where it's an exciting interview.
Right.
When you have a writer who writes the same question over and over again. So, Devon, how do you feel about this match? So,
Okay. Daniel, you want to take the next one?
Mm-hmm. Good.
Okay.
good. I'm in need of a lovely accent. Go ahead, Daniel.
Right, yeah, I'll jump to what was the exact reason behind, your parting ways with the WWE?
You know what? I would love to tell you, but legally I cannot.
Oh.
We have little promises with each other that we will not say. So I shan't do anything I'm not supposed to do. So I won't say.
Is there any?
That stinks, doesn't it?
Is there any chance of us seeing you in NWA TNA?
Probably not. I mean, I am, after 18 years in the business, I'm really looking forward to doing so many other things, and I have, a lot of things that have been on the back burner that I am playing with and just kind of deciding exactly what opportunities I'm going to, I guess, jump into, and it's an exciting time for me because of just the new opportunities, and that is not to take anything away from wrestling. I have loved it. I have, it is in my blood. It will always be there, and I'll always love it. But it's just really exciting to kind of, after 18 years, do some different things. So,
if there's a promoter out there that would like to book you, how would they go about doing it?
I have several people that are talking with me. Georgie Amakopoulos, Rich Menzer, Dennis Brent, Harley Race. All of those people know how to get a hold of me, and kind of filter through those that are legit and good, and they know the good ones to get to me. So.
We usually do a longer word association, but we'll throw it down to 4 names for you. Is that cool? And then we'll be done. All right. The first name on the list is Dustin Rhodes.
Incredible history. Will always love him, and I know this is not in one word. And I just say my prayers every night that his life is incredible and wonderful.
Mark Henry.
Big, giant Hershey bar.
Daniel, by the way.
I'm sorry, Jim Ross.
Who?
Jim Ross.
A big plate of barbecue. Gosh, everything's circling around food now. Oh, no.
You must be getting hungry.
I am. Go ahead.
And the final one I said, because we said 4, is Vince McMahon.
Respect. Immense respect.
Oh, wow. So we really can't thank you enough for taking the time and doing this with us. We know you took a lot of your time, and we just wanted to once again thank you for everything you've done for us, and wish you the absolute best in the future.
Oh, thanks, guys, so much. And it was fun, and I liked your questions. They were different from some of the others, so thank you for keeping me entertained on this end.
Well, that's what we strive for.
And Daniel, it was lovely to hear your voice.
Thank you very much. It was lovely to hear your
All
voice.
right, guys.
Okay, bye. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned for more. Good night. Stay tuned for more from the interactive interview.
This is Kimberly Page, and the Wrestling Epicenter would like to apologize for the following.
Welcome back to the interactive interview. We did a police car thing down to the ring all the time. I just wasn't a big fan of it. I just thought, I can see that they want to get him on there because there was a lot of WWE marks that absolutely fell in love with Steve Austin, but I didn't think his character was that strong. And if you listen to this crowd response at WrestleMania, the glass broke and everything, and the crowd just kind of went, They didn't even really go nuts for him, which is surprising from the New York crowd.
And surprising at WrestleMania as well, considering out of the 3 people in that match, he was the only one that was staying. But obviously now, when he quit, it must have been, 2 months, not even 2 months removed from WrestleMania. We're not even that far yet.
Right.
It'll be a month or so, 6 weeks removed from WrestleMania. And all 3 of the guys that are going to be in what was probably going to be the main event, I'd say. Up until, maybe the main event or the second main event. Have all left, which is kind of a interesting, thought. I mean, if they brought in somebody like Macho Man Randy Savage or Hulk Hogan to the event, you could probably see them, coming in, doing the event and leaving. A bit like The Rock. But he wasn't really, say this time last year, you probably wouldn't have expected all 3 of them.
Guard goes over and punches the chamber door and shatters it. Just the look on Triple H's face, the look on Goldberg's face, and the reaction of the crowd. That was, I don't get excited about WWE much, but I went, yes, he's going to get him. That was great. And they could still do stuff like that with him, but they just, don't get me started.
On the topic of Steve Austin, I've just put forward my view, really. He wasn't really, adding to the product as such. I think he's probably taking away from it, to be honest, because you don't need when you got Bischoff on the show like that, I don't think you needed Austin. I didn't like the whole driving down the ring on that singing and whatever, and it just seemed pointless to me. But, by the same rate, I think it's doing WWE more harm that he's not with them than good by him not being with them, if you see what I mean. Because they're giving him quite a lot of money, obviously, but he's now talking about possibly going and actually wrestling in Japan and stuff like that, so he might come out of retirement and do that sort of thing, which would be bad, because it would really draw. Sure, it's not in the same country and stuff, but, you know, I think it's,
It would be more hurtful to them if TNA ever gathered the money that
isn't, and Steve Williams.
Well, Steve Williams is another Steve Williams.
Apparently. I didn't know this till today, but I read it on a forum, and it made a lot of sense. There was the guy that was posting about it. You know, it's on a different topic, but it really all ran together really well. And apparently, Chris Benoit, if he's ever released, is, as long as, you know, if he's released in a really sort of negative way, and so he walks out like, say, Medusa did, then he's really got a bit of a problem, because WWE trademarked his name. So he wouldn't be able to legally work in the entertainment business as Chris Benoit. He could work as Wild Pegasus and Pegasus Kid and stuff, his old gimmick, they're not trademarked. But he couldn't work as, you know, Chris Benoit.
And that's a problem. These guys, you know, and Roddy Piper went over to people and told them this flat out. He told a lot of young guys this. You gotta own your name, because if you ever decide to leave here, you're not worth shit. And I can't believe Chris Benoit will sign over his name.
I suppose, to be honest, he's kind of thinking, you know, I'm not going to be going anywhere else anytime soon. So, you know, without going too far off on a tangent from our original topic, this the whole WWF WWE changeover, they haven't really done it, you know, on a great sense, because a lot of people in the UK that don't watch wrestling and aren't fans and stuff still don't know the change of name. Because a lot of people still say, you know, WWF. So, I mean, I've spoken to venues before and tried to explain what wrestling is and stuff like that.
Right.
But they say, oh yeah, WWF. Yes, just say yes. It is.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're casual fans, and there's probably, you know, there's not been a lot going on the past couple of years to where you would want to tune in and find out what's going on. So, I mean, there hasn't been that big draw like Mike Tyson anymore. And WrestleMania 20 could have been that, but they just didn't. It was just a really mega card.
This is Mike Tyson plus the K1 in Japan or wherever it is. Oh, no, I think it's is it in the US or is it in Japan?
I think it would be in Japan, but I could be wrong.
K1. I don't keep up with it at all, but
Me neither.
apparently he signed on to some boxing rules fight with someone, and the reason that Miss Kitty, aka Bessie Carter, took herself off in the United Kingdom on pay-per-view. So, again, thank you for that.
Yay! Yay!
Very good album.
Okay. Well, I have no idea what I'm going to play. How about I play some New LA Jen? Alright, this one.
One thing to quickly report. Feedback on the Adam Ryland interview was very good on the official website of that game, Total Extreme Warfare, which can be found, of course, at totalextremewarfare.com. On their message board, good feedback. Just one person asked what the song at the end of it was, and Adam actually knew what the song was and responded with it. So.
Really? Cool. The song is Skid Row, I Remember You.
Yeah, exactly what it said. I knew it was Skid Row song, I couldn't remember what name. But that's exactly what Adam said. So, well done Adam for getting that correct. And a lot of people like the Stop the Host segment, which of course will be returning...
Probably in what, next week?
Next week, yeah.
Well, it should be this one, but no internet. Okay.
It being my birthday. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Happy birthday. Is it today?
No, it's a Thursday.
Thursday. Well, you're going to be gone on Thursday, so I will say happy birthday to you now.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm not going to be available from kind of Wednesday or Tuesday through to about Sunday, so...
Okay. But I do wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And,
I can't believe it. My Daniel friend is turning 19.
and as you said the other day, it seemed just like, last year that I had my birthday.
Yeah. I said, it's your birthday again? Didn't you just have one last year? Well, hopefully we'll get some more feedback on this one. This was called, what the hell was it called? I Just Want to Make Love to You in the LA Gun Song.
Thank you. Keep up.
Okay.
Well, that's all, folks. You have made it to the end of another video here on the Wrestling Epicenter channel. If you liked what you heard, please click the like button and leave a comment telling us what you think. And consider subscribing. It helps us more than you know. Thank you.